Hi, I'm Marv Levy, former coach of the Buffalo Bills, and I'm here today to present to you a new book which I've collaborated with a man named Jeff Miller. It's about the greatest football plays in Buffalo Bills history, entitled Game Changers, and they sure were. I remember some memorable moments, some wonderful people. It was a delight for me to write it. I sure enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy reading it.
Marv, in 2001, you were inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you as a professional football coach, and how does that rank among your career accomplishments?
You know, someone once asked me before, were you excited about going into the Hall of Fame? And if you're not, you don't belong in. And what drove that home to me, yes, I was very excited. I was almost in awe. But I noticed as I looked out on the audience, when you give your acceptance speech, many of those who had been inducted 30, 40 years before, that glow was still on them. Mm-hmm. So it's a wonderful experience. It's not a game day experience, but it's something that makes you reflect back on all the wonderful people with whom you've associated.
One of the most memorable plays in the history of the Buffalo Bills was Jim Kelly's game-winning touchdown against Miami. All the Bills fans remember that and look back on that fondly at Joe Robbie Stadium. Was that a design call, or was he improvising when that play got started?
Actually, of course, we were fighting the clock at the end of that game against Miami when Jim Kelly had his 2 or 3 yard run into the end zone that won the game on the last play. But the play was designed primarily as a forward pass. We had 4 wide receivers in the game. They were spread out. The Dolphins had man-to-man coverage on them. We had one back in the backfield besides Jim, and that was Thurman Thomas. And when Thurman went in motion and the linebacker assigned to covering him vacated the area, that turned over in Jim's mind, hey, there's going to be gaps in that pass rush. So we faked the pass rush, stepped back a couple, and then went for the hole and made it to the end zone. So it was a design play with a lot of improvisation on Jim's part.
Other than Jim Kelly, some of the Bills teams you coached featured other Hall of Famers, such as Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, and James Lofton. What other players that you coached do you feel have a legitimate shot at being enshrined in the Hall?
I think besides those Buffalo Bills players who have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame during my tenure there, that Andre Reed, without question, belongs. The 3rd most prolific receiver in the game at the time he retired. And he wasn't the only guy on it. You've already mentioned Lofton, and there was Don Beebe and other great receivers. Andre, yards after catch, running abilities, I think only Jerry Rice would be in the same category as Andre when it came to that. Other than that, Steve Tasker, the greatest special teams player of all times, and believe me, the special teams, I don't even like the name special teams, the kicking teams, 1/3 of the game. There has never been a kicking teams player to come close to the performance that Steve Tasker had. I might point something out. Bill Parcells once, before a game, when we were playing him, he was coaching the Patriots, said, you know the guy on your team we have to prepare for the most? And he mentioned our great stars, Kelly and Thomas and Smith. He said, it's Steve Tasker. So there's a couple, and I tell you, guys like Darryl Talley, and Kent Hull and Cornelius Bennett certainly deserve consideration.
Continuing on talking about special teams, and Steve Tasker being the great special teams player that he was, how important do you think special teams are to the overall success of the ball club?
I'm going to say something that all coaches say, and I only think about 10% really believe, that the kicking game is exactly 1/3 of the game. Every bit as important as the offense or defense. Think about it. 20% of the plays in a game are a kicking game play of some type. But on every single kicking play, one of 3 things happen. There's a huge change in field position, very meaningful to the game. There's a change in possession, very meaningful in the game, or there is a specific yes or no, PAT field goal, attempt to score on this play. They are really important.